there it is. We got our hunks coming out in the chat. It's a shame. Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess what's tough about Essence Gaming, I think what's so special about Respect the Goose, aside from the fact that their fans come out in droves, is the fact that they also have a very distinctive cheer going on. And while I'm talking about that, it's actually time to get into our draft already underway. So, just as with really any series, I check on Hero's profile, try to check to see what the hero priorities are to figure out where we could be going for, our early bans and picks. For Essence Gaming, their most played heroes are Anduin, Kael'thas, and Varian. On the side of Essence Gaming, their most played heroes are Brightwing, Li Ming, and Mal'Ganis. That Brightwing is a particularly interesting one, that being their comfort pick hero when it's not something that I would think of as, if I had to say, what are the best meta heroes in the healing position, I definitely would not think of Brightwing coming from there. So it's got to be more of a comfort pick. But perhaps more interesting is that Respect the Goose also have some spicy pocket picks. They have played Cho'Gall twice this season, 50% win rate on it. They've played Probius 3 times, although that's not working out quite as well for them. And then finally, they played Samuro twice, and that they have a 100% win rate on it, and that's why we will see the Samuro banned. Pretty much the way I'm thinking, and honestly the way probably a lot of teams think, is that if your opponent has someone who can actually play Samuro, a lot of times that's just something that just gets banned straight out through the entire series, because that's something like, if someone can actually play that, people just don't want to deal with it. And not that it's so overpowered that it's impossible to play around. I actually saw a very good example recently of a team that was able to defeat a Samuro composition, but it's just so many people just don't even want to bother. They don't want to go through the headache of dealing with a Samuro. So meanwhile, one interesting thing here, though, is that this is the first time, I think, in a while that Essence Gaming has not had Phoenix banned against them. Now, Phoenix is not a super spicy pick like a Samuro or a Cho'Gall, but it is something that is by far the most banned hero against Essence Gaming. In a lot of their series, it's banned out all the way through, and Tin never gets a chance to play it. So Respect the Goose did not ban it out. They chose to focus on the most commonly played healer, the Anduin, and they banned out the ETC. So this does mean that Tin does have the opportunity to play Phoenix, a comfort pick hero, one that he is known for. So we'll see if that gets picked up. I honestly think it is at this point, since it was actually let through. But it will be Rhiannon picking up the Li Ming in that first pick. I sometimes personally have problems with Li Ming on this map, since although the objective itself, doesn't have like any... Well, actually, there are kind of the camp defenders that sometimes get in the way. And I also find this is a map where sometimes you are fighting on the waves, especially as you're pushing with the objective. And sometimes there can be a lot of things blocking Li Ming's shots. So, as I said, it is indeed the Phoenix for Tin. So we'll see, just what that can do for Essence Gaming, if it is indeed as powerful as a pick as it's kind of been built up to be at this point. That Comfort Brightwing pick coming in for the members of Respect the Goose, as well as the Johanna. Johanna, obviously, at this point, I think it's basically just that Johanna is the overall highest priority tank in the game, barring just any comfort picks for the player. But I think most people who play tanks are comfortable on Johanna. She's not a terribly hard tank to play, not too hard to get value out of. Greymane will be banned by Essence Gaming. Malthael is also picked up by Apocalypse, and I've seen him play that as well, so at the very least, it is a hero that he should be relatively comfortable on. But our secondary ban phase, obviously the Greymane already taken off the table. What will it be for the next ban out of Respect the Goose? Now, we did go... Ooh, the Maiev. We did go through our map picks and bans so quickly, as these teams really just went through their map picks and bans, got a lobby going. They really went about it fast. Now, between these two teams, it's a tough call on who I think is slated to win today. Looking at the records, I think people might be tempted to say Respect the Goose, and in some sense I am too. I believe they have a 4-1 win-loss record. However, one of those wins I believe did come from a team forfeiting. So, in terms of how many matches they've actually played, their win-loss record, I believe, is only 3-1. Meanwhile, the win-loss record for Essence Gaming is 3-3. So definitely the win rate, clearly, is better for Respect the Goose. But part of that is also because they haven't... Essence Gaming has actually just straight up played more matches. They played 6 matches. Respect the Goose has only played, I believe, 4, and then they have 1 additional win as coming from a forfeit. But, you know, while I'm trying to talk about that, we do have our final picks coming out. It's going to be the Mephisto for Goliath. I believe Mephisto is actually a hero that both of these teams play, so that's a hero we could have seen from either player, but Adrian will instead pick up the Kael'thas. The Mal'Ganis picked up by StudlyDudley. That's a name that I love saying. Mal'Ganis is actually a commonly played hero by both teams, but of course, you know, since Respect the Goose were able to pick up that Johanna earlier on, that was a more important pickup for them. And finally, it's going to be the Lucio for Aelish, as my throat starts to get a little cluttered with things. It needs to be cleared. Obviously, we've got our hunks out in chat. I could ask who you're favoring this matchup, who you're feeling more tonight, but of course, a lot of you just came here as the Respect the Goose crew. I can't believe they've got such a big cheerleader squad. Meanwhile, we've got Gerger practically representing Essence Gaming solo. No, just kidding. Sweet Lou's also got them as well. So some support on both sides, but I think it could also just be the case where the Respect the Goose fans are just a little bit louder. So I'm trying to think of who I favor in either of these drafts. It's a little bit of a hard call either way, actually. Certainly we have a little bit of a strange draft slightly strange from Respect the Goose in that it is a double mage, one of the forbidden compositions. But, out of all the forbidden compositions, I think double mage is one of the least offensive ones, especially with Li Ming kind of having some sustained damage because magic missiles do have a pretty short cooldown. As long as you can actually hit them. But Johanna, generally thought of as the better tank. And I feel like Mal'Ganis can also struggle a little bit into Johanna. Have to be very, very careful about making sure your night rushes don't get interrupted by the Condemn. At this time, we're having a rather long load-in to this match. Sustained healers on both sides of these teams. Not quite sure who matches up better in that regard. I think the Lucio overall is probably the better pick, but we very, very soon, we've had a very long load in, but finally we have made it. All right, you came here for the main attraction, game number 1 between Essence Gaming and Respect the Goose. We're going to have Tin actually having the chance to play Phoenix. Apocalypse will be playing as Malthael. Aelish will be playing as Lucio. StudlyDudley on the Mal'Ganis. Adrian on the Kael'thas. On the other team, it's going to be Respect the Goose. Their teammates or their cheerleaders honking their way to try to bring them to victory. It's going to be Bulletbear on the Leo. Arco will be playing as Johanna. Rhiannon will be playing as Li Ming. Rusty on the Brightwing. And finally, Goliath on the Mephisto. All right, then. Party mix out from Lucio. Quite a few stacking talents on the side of Essence Gaming, so they are going to need some of this brawling, except for the fact that, well, the primary brawling stacking talent is the advanced targeting on the Phoenix. I had forgotten what the name of that talent was, since it's not the one that I personally pick. I don't expect to see advanced targeting that often these days, although Phoenix himself is actually not incredibly common. A little bit disappointing. I remember when he was first released and he was really good. I had something like a 70% win rate on him in ranked. Those were the days. Meanwhile, Phoenix going to be moving back up, actually leaving the lane to try to support here. I mean, I think obviously part of it is he is trying to get more stacks on the advanced targeting. The other stacks for our players, obviously, the Lucio party mix. Not one that, Lucio doesn't really need to be around enemy heroes for that. Primarily only needs to be around friendly heroes. And then the Mana Addict for Kael'thas is obviously something that is based on globes. So it's actually more of a PvE quest. StudlyDudley starting this camp by himself. He really can't do this by himself. He needs help from someone. So Aelish and Adrian will be helping him. It does help them to clear it up a little bit quicker. Obviously, it's going to be picked up on the other side. Goliath, please don't die to this. I've actually seen a few strange occasions earlier on today of people dying to AI-controlled, to AI units. So, don't want to see that tonight or in this game. Not in Div C, please. I know we're not Masters players, but we can make sure that we don't die to Siege Camps. So Siege Camp will be pushing in both lanes. And it looks like Tin is actually doing like a bit of a rotation between top and bottom, clearing that out as quickly as he can. as well as trying to actually rotate back to the middle lane to try to create some 3v4 situations. I'm not entirely sure. I think the main thing that he gets out of it is just the potential stacks. Getting this to obviously just a Johanna by herself. Not going to get as many stacks on that as if you had moved up here and tried to get hits on Plasma Cutter. I had to look that one up. Tried to get like hits on Plasma Cutter on like 2-3 heroes at a time like you would in this middle lane. Which I think is also one of the problematic reasons of picking this talent, since especially on a map like this, where I feel like a lot of times you're probably just going to have a 1-3-1 split, like you see here. And out of all the heroes on your team, Phoenix is probably going to be one of the ones who's better suited to the solo lane. But, you know, we got 20 stacks already, 20 out of 120. Let's do math. That is 1/6 of the stacks. Actually not that bad in 3 minutes before an objective phase, where the team fights would really more be the situations where he would be likely to get more stacks. Aelish up here by herself takes half of her health, getting a little too close, but now we might have Goliath potentially out of position. StudlyDudley finds a stun. Aelish is getting in really close, though. And Bulletbear is moving in too, though, trying to punish StudlyDudley and Aelish for that aggression, and it does seem like it will work. Can they complete the kill on StudlyDudley? Arco is trying to finish it, but doesn't seem like he can. And now it's going to be Apocalypse all by himself. Malthael, not really someone who has too much in terms of escape, but, well, maybe I'm wrong about that. He certainly... Oh! That was close. Malthael definitely does have a lot of juking potential. So arguably you could say that those are escape mechanisms, but he can't just straight up jump out the way, say, something like a Phoenix can. So a lot of fighting going on, a lot of skirmishing, and yet no actual capture of the objective on either sides for both teams. Looks like a very standard build for Malthael. What is with Aelish not picking talents? That is something that's really, really confusing. Doesn't even have a level 4 talent. What is going on? Does she just not realize that she hasn't picked talents? Oh no, Tin! Tin is in so much trouble. He does teleport out. Okay, he is okay. Teleport does not get interrupted. Apocalypse kind of going in by himself, leading the charge. Obviously, he's going to do a lot of damage. Spread that damage with those cleaving basic attacks. But he's not a tank. So I still think he does need to be very careful trying to initiate without his tank. Obviously, Malthael has his origins as a melee assassin, so he has a lot less common with tanks than I feel a lot of the other bruisers do. Goliath teleports in with Shade of Mephisto, but takes so much damage on the approach. Now it looks like they might get the kill on Rusty. Tin is chasing in. Tin does have target acquired, so we do see that movement speed allowing him to get closer and really pursue the Warp Warfare. That's also an interesting one. I did not expect that one, but certainly with that massive... Certainly, if you can make an aggressive play, Phoenix is going to do a huge amount of damage with this. So I don't feel like this is the most common talent, but if you can make use of this, obviously I feel like it has a lot of carry potential with the amount of damage he can do. But you got to be able to deliver the repeater cannon shots. Tin is so low. He needs to be so careful. StudlyDudley holding the line, but the kill might come out onto Goliath, or will be StudlyDudley first. StudlyDudley goes back in for a stun. But he will go down as well eventually. The kills overall feel like they're going to go in favor of Essence Gaming. That's 2-1 in their favor. Arco is also really low. Arco, not Arrow, and indeed that will be a 3-1 in favor of Essence Gaming. They will finish channeling the prisoner camp. So let's see where they will choose to push down the lanes. Will it just be soak every lane? Will it be some other kind of split? So it looks like a soak every lane kind of split. Malthael obviously solo laning by himself. Does look like Tin's going to be here, and I guess just the question is, StudlyDudley, is he going to join Tin, or is he going to rotate somewhere else? Because I would think, again, typically thinking of Phoenix as a bit of a solo laner. Could be here by himself while StudlyDudley pushes alongside Aelish and Adrian. But, okay, you know, decent value in all lanes so far. It looks like we're going to keep front walls in probably all lanes. This one's the most suspect, since it's just a Malthael pushing alongside a cavalry, since Malthael actually has pretty poor siege damage himself, but I think he'll see if he can at least confirm the tower. He's being very cautious around Bulletbear. And I'm not sure if he has to be, but probably just because he's at half health while Bulletbear is at full. But he'll still secure... They'll still secure the towers in that lane. Brief level 10 talent tier advantage, and now it is gone. So, Essence Gaming looking pretty good at the start of this game, actually. You know, there was a point where they had level 10 to 8 talent tier advantage, which is a pretty strong talent tier advantage to have, especially if you can take advantage of it. And they... Ooh, that's a Blessed Shield going out, but I don't think anyone else is going to get rooted, but it might not matter. Sound Barrier from Aelish is just in time to save StudlyDudley, and somehow they trade out the kill onto Rusty. I can't believe that. You know, especially going into this series, I was slightly favoring Respect the Goose. And, oh man, do the geese, do they have support in droves in the chat? Yes, 24 is enough to count for droves. But, you know, right now, Essence Gaming looking pretty good. Certainly, Respect the Geese or Goose are nowhere near being out of this, but level 12 to 10 is actually relatively convincing at this point in the game. Again, nothing that they can't come back from, but this might just be another kill on Bear. Bulletbear, that is. Okay. Of course, he is Leoric, one of the hardest to gank heroes in the solo lane, because he does get unstoppable on that Wraith Walk. Makes it pretty easy to get to the safety of your fort. But still, just when I saw that rotation from Tin, I was concerned. I mean, Tin just showing off on this hero right now. Let's even take a look at the damage statistics to see how they're doing. So it's actually going to be Apocalypse leading on damage on the Malthael, which it's not terribly surprising. There were definitely times in team fights where I saw him getting those cleaving basic attacks on like 3, possibly even sometimes 4 heroes. And of course he does get the damage over time from his trait, so he's definitely going to stack up the damage numbers from that. And of course it's not always just about the damage numbers. It's about, can you get the kills at the right time? There will be an Entomb. Entomb completely misses. You know, okay, Durance of Hate does connect onto Aelish as well. Did spread, but now it's Goliath who's so low. And that's not the Shade. He's already so low. But the Emerald Wind out of Brightwing will allow the disengage to be successful. So it is a successful disengage. And, wow, I didn't realize that was actually a 4v5. And while that was a 4v5, Tin was getting some more value in that middle lane. Almost level 14. For Essence Gaming, as they also pick up the Siege Camp, and we don't see the rotation by Respect the Goose to get their own Siege Camp, so that's going to be a little bit tough for them. We do have the objective ready to be channeled. Siege Camp picked up by Respect the Goose. I expect at this point, I mean, they either have to do one of two things, or both of them. They need to pick up their own Siege Camp, they need to clear out the other Siege Camp, or they need to do both. It does look like they will do both, and I'm actually surprised that Essence Gaming wasn't a little bit faster about moving in to actually start channeling the objective, because that's the advantage they should get. They do finally get around to it, and they will get the channel, but it wasn't quite as fast as I thought it would, and certainly there's still plenty of time for Respect the Goose to both pick up level 20. I wanted to combine 12 and 20. Level 12, or rather level 13. It doesn't get better. It only gets worse. It gets worse before it gets better. They finally pick up level 13. They have, I think, just barely enough time to contest this, but they've got to be pretty fast here. They're going to probably have some people start to channel it. Rhiannon is getting the channel, and I do believe that he or she will get it. First kill does go into Johanna, however. Second one will go into Bulletbear. So that's 2-0 in kills. And although they did take the fight, got the channel, it is Essence Gaming in the end managing to win the team fight and recapture the shrine in their favor, or the camp, really. So a little bit of value being gotten out of the Siege Camp from Respect the Goose, but I mean, otherwise, this is so far looking pretty good for Essence Gaming. Sorry, yeah, it's for Essence Gaming. I wonder if we will see the ban on the Phoenix moving forward. My guess is no. My guess is that they actually haven't really scouted this out, this Phoenix, as being something that is so ban-worthy. I mean, in most cases... Thank you. In most cases, yeah, I was pretty sure that Rhiannon is a girl's name, but I wasn't 100% sure, so wanted to leave room for that possibility. In most cases, like, unless you have someone who's clearly really comfortable on it and really good at it, I would not think of Phoenix as being a particularly ban-worthy hero, but it's just something that's been banned out so many times against Tin. Okay. Oh, but this time the Durance of Hate does connect onto 2 and does allow the kill onto Kael'thas. At this time, StudlyDudley is going in, but Aelish goes in too, and they both get trapped by the Emerald Wind. Tin commits the Planet Cracker, but at this time he just needs to get the disengage because that is 3 kills for Respect the Goose. Not a bad defense. Saves them that fort, or rather that keep. Now, yeah, so I wouldn't think of Phoenix as being a particularly ban-worthy hero, and I expect that if they let it through, Respect the Goose that is, I don't think they really scouted out the Phoenix as a potential threat. So unless they really feel that it was the Phoenix that's the problem here, I don't think they're going to ban it in the next game, whether they win or lose. And of course, it's also just kind of the way Phoenix works. Phoenix is very much a sustained damage dealer. And unless he gets some fat Planet Crackers, he's not really the one to make the flashiest of plays. Certainly got our honks out in the chat. Of course, keep it up. Do like the support that you guys bring out for your teams. And I would say, yeah, Respect the Goose is definitely one of the teams that has one of the most enthusiastic cheerleader squads where if they're playing on stream, they've got people in chat honking their way to their own success. This is going to be a boss picked up by the members of Essence Gaming. We have an attempted Blessed Shield engage. The Durance of Hate does connect onto 2, but the sound barrier is there to negate it. Rusty is actually in so much trouble. Arco, I don't think, is going to make it out here either. It's going to be 3 kills in favor of Essence Gaming, looking so good in this game. They just picked up a boss. Respect the Goose tried to get there in time to contest it, but they didn't. I'm actually really surprised. I felt that they were... I mean, of course, it's... Obviously, I have definitely the ease of being able to see things from a spectator point of view, where it seemed like to me they really needed to just go bottom and trade out the bosses. I mean, as it is, you know, at this time, this is just going to be... I'm assuming it's just going to be Essence Gaming going to get the bottom boss as well. Tin even wants to get some of that repeater cannon speed, I think. Yeah, he's getting that repeater cannon bonus speed from the Warp Warfare. StudlyDudley does not get stunned. And, yeah, there's no way that Respect the Goose finishes this off, or contest it, rather. As it is, they lost their fort in the top lane. If they defend against this boss, I don't think they will lose, rather the keep. They lost their keep in the top lane. If they defend against this boss, I don't think they will lose the keep here. But if they just fight over the objective and let the boss get value, that's going to be a little bit more troubling. But they're in such a weak position. Rhiannon, I think that's it for Rhiannon. Meanwhile, Arco walking right through the Planet Cracker. This is kind of a nice path for a Planet Cracker. Goliath about to go down. Arco will be lucky to get out alive, but it's looking pretty dire for the members of Respect the Goose. Yeah, I was trying to say, this particular area, right in between that choke point, I think is pretty good for the Planet Cracker from Phoenix. And now, with a boss pushing, man, with a boss pushing, they will take advantage of that to finish off this bottom keep. And this really makes things so powerful for the members of Respect the Goose. They're even pushing in here. Wow, they're going to get a kill. They're going to kill on Arco. And they might just win the game off this push. They might not even need the next prisoner camp, but they'll get it anyway. Tin will take it. Oh, Bulletbear is absolutely gone, and that is absolutely the end of the game. First game going in favor of Essence Gaming, and honestly, much, much more convincing than I expected. I wasn't entirely sure how to call this game. It's definitely, I think, out of just a lot of the matches that I've called so far, this probably would have been, at least on paper, one of the hardest ones to call. But, yeah, I mean, Essence Gaming going into this with definitely the worst win rate, but part of it being that they did play more matches, more chances to lose when you play more matches, better win rate out of Respect the Goose. But those win rates might change a bit after this series, unless Respect the Goose finds a way to turn this around. We'll see if there are any adjustments, particularly in the draft, and we'll see if that Phoenix goes through this time or not. But it looks like the real carry was actually Malthael. Apocalypse on that Malthael, actually topping the damage numbers, 9 kills and 0 deaths. Very polarizing, and you don't want to leave room for it to get countered. But you know what? Let's get into our draft for game number 2. Essence Gaming leading 1-0 in this series, and not without fans of their own, as some people in the chat are letting me know. It's just very obvious that our Respect the Goose fans are quite a bit louder. But obviously a lot of respect being put on tin from some of our fans from Essence Gaming playing on that Phoenix. And honestly, I honestly bet, my bet is Phoenix does not get banned. I don't think Phoenix is going to get banned. If any hero does get banned as a respect ban, just based on last game, I think it'll be the Malthael, but instead, right now, they're still going to go in the target ban based on the hero's profile data, which is the Anduin. That is a hero that will not take place or not play a part in either the first game or the second, but it is the most commonly played support for the members of Essence Gaming. Not on the table, so... And I'll just take a look. What are the other options that their support player has? Their support player it's Aelish. So obviously Aelish played the Lucio in the last game, and there you go. So instead, they actually banned out the Kael'thas, not the Phoenix. So there's a decent chance that we see Phoenix again. It's just something, again, it's banned out so much against them because people see it as just such a threatening pick. So Phoenix goes through. Alarak will be banned on the side of... On the side of Essence Gaming against Respect the Goose. Now, Respect the Goose was the one that, you know, I'd said they're the ones with some of the potentially spicy picks. Will we see that Cho'Gall this time? Will we see the Cho'Gall? Okay, they get the Malthael for themselves. This also makes it possible that they're thinking about a Cho'Gall because, of course, with first pick in the draft, that means they get the last 2 picks. So they can guarantee that if they want the Cho'Gall and it doesn't get banned in the secondary ban phase, it can be picked up in the 4 or 5 slot with no opportunity for counterpicking it whatsoever. So we'll see if Essence Gaming have done some of their own research. If they... Okay... Those are some nice pickups. You know, Tin just getting on his trademark Phoenix as I struggle to get words out of my mouth. StudlyDudley, love that name. Picking up the Johanna, taking advantage of being able to get it first. And this time there are just so many times in draft in NGS and Heroes of the Storm these days where just a big part of the draft is who gets Johanna first if she does make it through to the draft, which she often does. The Mal'Ganis picked up on the other side for Arco, and the Greymane. Oh, okay. No, it can't be. It can't be a Cho'Gall at this point. It really just can't. Because if they ran a Cho'Gall, it would be a no healer with Cho'Gall. So that's clearly not on the table anymore. But what about some of the other spicy picks? Samuro was also taken off the board. Probius is the other one that I would say is spicy, but the one that they've been least successful with in the past. The Rhaegar is banned out to prevent just the synergy with a Greymane. I would argue that Rhaegar also has some effectiveness. Well, and actually, I think it works well with all 3 of the heroes that are here so far. Malthael does want to get those auto attacks to cleave so he can apply the Reaper's Mark. Mal'Ganis does want the self-healing from his own auto attacks. So I would say that a lot of these are... Obviously, Greymane is the most obvious one, where Greymane is clearly the auto attack hero here. The main one. Ooh, Adrian will pick up the Tassadar. And the Tassadar, ooh, I'm actually really liking the draft out of Essence Gaming. Sonya is a hero I think is very, very strong on the shrines. A lot of their heroes are actually quite strong on the shrines. And the Tassadar is someone who, as I recently cast the Legendary Cup for Heroes Lounge, and one of my co-caster for that match was I believe, just a player who... I was going to say European, but I think it was actually like Australian. But he felt that like in Europe that they actually have a very high priority on Tassadar, and haven't seen as much of it in North America. But you know, it's here. Adrian will play it. And one of my questions is also, is it going to be a Black Hole Tassadar? I've definitely seen good synergy with the Black Hole. I think there's setup for it in the form of the Blessed Shield, but especially on a map like Infernal Shrines, Archon can also be very powerful. Okay, the Lucio, it's going to be Lucio versus Brightwing yet again. So those healers, I don't really regard either one of those as ideal healers, but I think in the last game we saw that, you know, head-to-head, it did actually feel like the Lucio had the better end of things because of the team-saving value of the sound barrier. And of course, sometimes we did see the disengage or even the trapping potential of the Emerald Wind. But I like the Lucio better, just as a support. And overall, I think I actually really prefer the draft from Essence Gaming. They have the Johanna, which I feel does slightly better against Mal'Ganis, who really needs to be careful, make sure his night rushes don't get interrupted by condemns. They can also just be interrupted by blessed shields. The Shrine Clear, I mean, the Sonya is just so good for Shrine Clear. I think and of course that also helps her sustain very, very well on the Shrine. And then another point of weakness I feel for Respect the Goose is the Li Ming. Li Ming is not, although a comfort pick for many players at really all levels of play, you don't always see it as much on Infernal Shrines at higher levels of play because it's not seen as being particularly effective on this map because of how your shots can get blocked. But, you know, regardless of my theory crafting, we've got a game to go to. It's starting. It's here. We have Essence Gaming looking quite good, and they got their comfort pick in Phoenix. It'll be Tin playing Phoenix yet again. Aelish will be on the Lucio. Apocalypse as Sonya this time. StudlyDudley on the Johanna. Finally, it's going to be Adrian on the Tassadar. Meanwhile, Respect the Goose down 0-1 in this series. Will be Bulletbear on the Phoenix. Bulletbear is on the Malthael. Rusty on the Brightwing, Rhiannon on the Li Ming. Goliath will be playing as the Greymane, and finally it is Arco on the Mal'Ganis. So obviously, I especially got to say it clearly, the members of Respect the Goose as well as their cheerleading squad in the chat been providing their support. I think you're really just going to need to give them all your energy. Give them all your energy. Let them take your energy. Because if I'm completely honest, in my opinion, I honestly think that Essence Gaming is probably going to finish out this series 2-0. They just played so well in that last game. They got their comfort pick, the Phoenix for Tin. Because as I said, I just didn't think that Respect the Goose had scouted it out. And then finally, the Li Ming I just feel as a weakness where I feel like the comfort picks on the side of Respect the Goose kind of getting in the way of what is ideal for the map. Aelish, though, I think really Aelish definitely needs to be really careful sometimes, occasionally moving up a little bit too far forward with that Lucio. And a little too far forward with that Lucio and sometimes taking some unnecessary damage. Meanwhile, this is a super quick camp pickup. Just, wow, such better end of the rotations that they're able to pick that up completely uncontested. We do see Li Ming and Goliath going for their own siege camp on their side of the map, which that's not as much of a surprise. Meanwhile, the matchup between Sonya and Malthael, I'm not actually entirely sure about how this works as a head-to-head matchup, but for the moment, it does seem like Malthael's getting the better end of it. I assume that over time, especially when you get Die Alone at 7, or is it 4? I forget already. That Malthael probably does better in this. He just sustains better. He probably puts more damage pressure onto Sonya. Right now, it looks like Bulletbear is trying to zone Apocalypse out. So it does seem like the head-to-head solo lane matchup might actually be a bit in Malthael's favor. However, I do think that when it actually comes to the Shrine, I like Sonya a bit better there. Tin actually playing so aggressively, playing way ahead of his tank. StudlyDudley, though, looks for a condemn onto Arco. I don't think it'll result in a kill anywhere. Yeah, he'll just be able to get out of there with Night Rush. Not some Night Relish. But yeah, Apocalypse actually really struggling here. It always seems like he's just down in health. He's getting zoned out of experience. He's trying to go in, even spears in just to get experience. And this also could result in a position where, as he tries to finish soaking up this experience, he'll probably need to Hearth unless he has a tap, and then he might find himself in a position where he is joining his team late. And it doesn't seem like the members of Essence Gaming are really going to be on time for this. And, oh, Tin actually getting out of there. Unfortunately, that slow, rather telegraphed initiation from Malthael, making it hard to really score that pick on Tin. But we are going to see the members of Essence Gaming make it a little bit later to the Shrine, and right now they only have 4 of their members. Sonya actually choosing to push. I think actually just prepping the lane, but now it is full on a 5v4. I think Essence Gaming needs to see if they can find the disengage until... Okay, Apocalypse actually not going for it, so they might not be going for disengage. They might just be going for delay, but they lose one of their members in the process. Yeah, they're definitely not getting this. You know what? Straight up, they're not getting this objective. Like, I really don't see any re-engage potential with StudlyDudley at 10% health, but Apocalypse going to try to go in anyway. I don't think this is the play. I think they're just... Oh, no, and StudlyDudley goes down. All right, kill traded out, though. But, yeah, I honestly did not like that. I mean... yeah, way too many unnecessary deaths for Essence Gaming. Respect the Goose, definitely coming back strong in this game, but honestly, a lot of it is also some misplays out of Essence Gaming. I think once Aelish died, I think that needed to be a complete disengage, and I think Sonya just needed to make sure and just needed to continue soaking lanes, prepping the waves, getting some value, getting some tower damage in those lanes, and soaking for the team. So the fact that they kept going on in there, even with when it was clearly when they did not even have a 5v5, I think it was just very, very misguided. So they stabilize. They actually stabilize pretty well. They stabilize with an experience advantage, Essence Gaming that is. StudlyDudley looking for some soak here, but finding himself getting engaged on by Arco. The Goose is loose. I'm so used to the Goose is loose being an Overwatch thing. After the support player for the LA Gladiators, Big Goose. Of course, it probably doesn't originate from there, but that's where I've most frequently heard it recently. I'm sure just in any case where there's a Goose, that phrase can be applied. Okay, Arco goes in for an engage. Fell Claws, that's what they're called. Fell Claws. Level 10 will be coming in first, though, most likely. Oh, but this kill might happen onto Tin. The engage, yeah, I don't know. Just the slow engage on the Mal'Ganis proving not to be enough against Tin's Phoenix. Tin, though, needs to respect the Goose now. If he goes in again, he's liable or likely to get hit by another Arcane Orb and go down, so he will just make sure he backs off, regenerates his shields. How is our solo lane matchup going? It is very consistently just resulting in situations where Malthael has more health than Sonya. Sonya's finding herself the wave getting pushed back, but, you know, I think Apocalypse is handling it about as well as he can, which is that he's not getting baited too much into the fight. Oh, sound barrier. Was that a sound barrier? Yeah, sound barrier actually had to be committed by Essence Gaming in the bottom. How's our solo lane? Okay, now Apocalypse actually has the better end of things, but the juking from Bulletbear will enable him to get out just fine. And then the wave clear starting to go in favor of Apocalypse as it continues to be an experience advantage for the members of Essence Gaming. Some light skirmishing going on between the 4v4 in these lanes. Bulletbear looking around, using that double soaking Malthael to try to see if he can maybe force a 5v4. A lot of these skirmishes around in the 4-man haven't resulted in kills yet, but they might just be seeing if they can go for Apocalypse. I don't think he's not wise to it. Okay, he will be slept, and there will definitely be a kill on Apocalypse. That's a very, very timely death. Timely for Respect the Goose, that is. Unfortunately, Apocalypse, in that case, not respecting the Goose. Very, very unfortunately. And we do also see a Wrath of the Berserker Sonya. Thank God, or thank the Goose, that it is not Leap. I am morally opposed to Leap Sonya. So I'm very, very glad that Apocalypse knows what's going on. You know, I felt Apocalypse, despite, you know, all the hype on Tin's Phoenix, I felt that Apocalypse was the MVP from the last game, so I feel like he's really shown what's up. Unfortunately, in this case, he did die, and that does mean that the members of Respect the Goose are able to get a positional advantage and a numbers advantage on the Shrine up until now. And now it is just straight up a 5v5. So, ooh, sleep does go on. I think maybe woken up a little bit prematurely. And there is the Planet Cracker committed, as well as the Blessed Shield definitely went out pretty recently. Okay, Essence Gaming has no heroic abilities online, so this is not looking good for them. Apocalypse is in a position where he will go down yet again. Tin needs to be super careful as well, and he does gotta get out of there. Oh no, what's going on? What is going on from Essence Gaming? Sonya was dead. It was a 4v5. Why is StudlyDudley going in? Oh no. That is really, really painful. And, you know, I may have predicted wrong, and I doubted. I doubted, you know, just my faith in your Lord and Savior, the Goose. But now Tin finds himself having to bait over a Punisher because StudlyDudley is not here. But man, they're just not playing. Essence Gaming is just not playing as clean as they did in the last game. They're not playing well on this particular map. And I'm not sure. Oh no, that Tin is absolutely gone there. No chance of survival there. They're just dropping members left and right. So definitely respect the Goose. They certainly shut me up. I was thinking that I felt that Essence Gaming had the better draft. I felt they played better last game. So I thought they were honestly just going to win it. But it really feels like the turns have tabled. Yes, I know what I did there. And yet the Sonya is also something in particular that has not been working out quite as well as I thought it would. Obviously the Malthael, if he can get Sonya in range for the last rites, it's been working out well in the team fights. I believe there were at least 2 kills from last rites. The Emerald Win from Brightwing also doing a really good job of making life harder for Sonya. And now this... Oh, no! Apocalypse goes in. Okay, this time I think he might get out here alive, but here's the sleep. The sleep does not go in on time, and they are nevertheless able to get the kill. So once again, it will be Apocalypse taken out. In my opinion, the MVP from last game, unfortunately, not quite having the same performance this time. So the members of Respect the Goose will take advantage of that time to take out yet another fort. Essence Gaming are trying to trade out the value by getting the fort in the middle, or at least as much of it as they can, but this is also really, really suspect. They need to pull out pretty soon, otherwise it's going to be a 5v4 collapse on them. They're trying to finish off the fort. StudlyDudley, oh no, he's in such a bad position. He activates Laws of Hope. Alright, I think they will just barely get out of there alive, but that was looking like a pretty close call, but they didn't finish the fort. So in reality, they actually got out of there just in time. So now, level 16... Oh, Tin, gotta be so careful. Alright. Luckily, I think he's okay for him. And, you know, at this point, we really have a series on our hand. Members of Respect the Goose actually really look poised to take Game 2 at this point. They're about to have level 16 talent tier advantage, but it feels like the members of Essence Gaming will be able to pick up... Oh, no. Are they going to pick up a kill on Tin? Tin is gone. Are you kidding me? Oh my god, Tin. Tin is not gone. Well, he is gone because he needs to hearth. Ooh, but I think that rotation to protect Tin, that might have made it harder for Essence Gaming to actually pick up level 16 talent tier. And now they're starting to pick this up. There's a down 16 talent tier fight, and it looks like they will just straight up disengage from it and concede the camp. Johanna in the middle, just looking to see if she can pick up level 16 for their team. I thought it would be in time for the objective, but it turns out it's really not. Silver lining for the members of Essence Gaming is that if they do end up having to concede this Punisher, it will be pushing down the bottom lane, which is currently their most well-defended lane. Now, I'm not even sure if I want to see them go in here. They don't have 16. What are they going to do? And if they lose a member first, please don't try to re-engage 4v5. Okay, it looks like they realize they're just not going to get it. Even going for this is a little bit suspect, but they will pick it up. Okay, now, yeah, should not even bother going in on the shrine. Instead, clear the waves, get level 16, be ready for the defense, and also be ready for the possibility that you might just have to straight up give this fort. I don't know about Sonya splitting. Okay, if Sonya is splitting, then they absolutely cannot afford to even bother trying to defend the fort. So, they do lose Johanna. StudlyDudley does go down. Unfortunately, he is playing a Laws of Hope Johanna. So, the members of Respect the Goose, they just bursted right through that Iron Skin. If Essence Gaming loses another hero here, this might even be a potential game-winning push. I don't know. It's actually a little bit suspect. That might be too optimistic of a call. Tin trying to defend as much as he can. Does manage to not get hit by Arco. And they do defend. Members of Respect the Goose will, of course, pull out. They did not manage to get a kill. Apocalypse just trying to get what value he can. Pulling out now. Of course, he's been picked a few times in this game, and he doesn't see any of the members of Respect the Goose, so he does need to be careful about that. This is now looking really scary, though, because it's still actually possible that Respect the Goose could find themselves with the level 20 talent tier advantage going into the final, well, not necessarily final, but the next shrine phase. So they're pushing, trying to see what they can get. At some point, I think they just need to try to find a fight before 20 instead of playing really passively. Unfortunately, they've got a lot of lane pressure against them. They're actually cutting it real close. I feel like they need to send Sony to clear this really quickly as a team, and then try to find a fight before 20. Because after this, Respect the Goose will have level 19. If they play any more passively, it will be level 20 talent tier against them for the final, for the next fight. But they've got so much clearing to do here. And then they're going to have to clear out... Oh, the party bush. The party bush is coming. I don't know if they're going to take the bait that deeply, though, into this bush. It's not like there's a camp here to get. Not yet, at least. Not for another 40 seconds. It's really going to be on StudlyDudley to make sure that he scouts this out. Actually, it looks like Respect the Goose will just move away from it, decide that it's too slow. I guess they just want to continue working on Soak themselves so they can pick up 20. Okay, StudlyDudley is checking now. But we're going to need to see. There's the Blessed Shield. It does go out. Arco's actually really low. Does he? He does not get the Carrion Swarm. He did not have it. It wasn't ready. And Essence Gaming find one of the kills that they needed. But now the question is, what can they do with this? Obviously, they will just pick this up. Probably want to get some more pressure in the bottom lane. Push that wave out a little bit more. Because if they don't get another kill, they could still be looking at being down level 20 talent tier advantage going into the next Shrine phase, and it would have really helped them a lot if the Shrine phase had activated sooner. As it is, at this point, the Shrine is on pace to be active once Arco has revived. Yeah, unfortunately, even with that kill, it wasn't quite enough. They needed more. They needed either more kills, or they just needed the Shrine to friggin' activate earlier. Of course, that's something that's totally out of their control. Of course, the only other thing that they would need is level 20, but that was not really in the cards. Okay, it might just barely be in the cards. It looks like, I don't know, like I feel like soak this top wave. Soak this top wave. They're not going for it. They're just going for the Shrine. I mean, I guess they had a slight advantage with Arco coming out a little bit late, but they're just willingly at this point electing into what is probably going to be a 19 versus 20 team fight. StudlyDudley is so low, does activate Iron Skin, but this time he is able to survive through the last rites. Things are going well. Oh no, but not for Apocalypse. He has to use Nerves of Steel, and he's just barely staying alive. And the first kill does finally go into Mal'Ganis. Bulletbear is trying to see if he can find a kill on Apocalypse, but he can't find it. He'll go down as well. Oh, God. Oh, God. They got 4 kills. I can't believe it. They basically volunteered themselves into a 19 versus 20 team fight. Somehow they won it. And now they could actually be looking at game in their favor. So Blessed Shield is up in 20 seconds, especially if they can find a pick on Brightwing, which they might not be able to, but whatever. It just depends. Like, if they can get kills with this Punisher, this could be the win for Essence Gaming. They could just be finishing the series out 2-0 right here. There's a decent chance that this is it. This is a Punisher. It's gonna have. It still has 80% of its hit points. The spawn for Arco is finally coming in, but we really need the spawn coming out from, like, Li Ming or something. Okay, stun goes out by John Cena, but it's not followed up by anyone. What is Sonya doing here? Oh, no. Okay, I mean, my best guess is Sonya was there trying to clear the wave, making sure it didn't win. Oh, but they get the kill. Unfortunately, it's going to be traded out. No! Tin is absolutely insane. He actually managed to time the teleport and make sure he doesn't get killed by the last right. StudlyDudley is in here. Oh no, he's taking too much tower aggro from the bottom fort. They need more heals coming in from Aelish. And now it's just desperation for Respect the Goose. Tin is... Oh god, Tin, what are you doing though? Tin is crazy. Tin is absolutely crazy. Oh my god, and Essence Gaming with a miraculous comeback at the end of that game. What a game in the end. A very good series. A shame. Honestly, you know, although, aside from, you know, of course, the fact that certainly our chat absolutely wanted to see Respect the Goose take this to a game 3 and probably win the series. Ultimately, it actually was a pretty awesome series, especially that last game on Infernal Shrines, but Essence Gaming does take it, and this definitely changes those win rates that I talked about quite a bit, because if we're not counting the forfeit win that Respect the Goose got, they're now at a 3-2 record, whereas the members of Essence Gaming are at a 4-3 record. So now there's actually not as big of a difference in their win rates. I'm not going to do the caster math to find out exactly which one of those 4-3 or 3-2 is a better win rate right now on stream. Maybe some other time. But man. And I guess the key in the end was really StudlyDudley not getting picked off early, because he was actually so there were so many times when he got picked early, and this time the defense was in to keep him alive and allowed them to turn the team fight around, because the way it kind of worked with Essence Gaming, or rather Respect the Goose, is that Respect the Goose really had a composition where it was very all in on that first kill, and there were so many times when they got it and it did miraculous things for them, but then the one time that they didn't, it allowed the turnaround by Essence Gaming. So I've heard Tin will be joining us in an interview. Hello, Tin, and let me just hold on, just switching over on some things. So, Tin, congratulations on your win in this series. How you doing? How you feeling about this win?
Pretty good. That last end there was a bit of a, I don't know how to say it, heart attack inducing moment.
I imagine it was pretty stressful in that game too. You know, and as we bring it up, I would like to know a little bit more about game 2. It honestly did seem like things might have been getting a little chaotic. There were times when StudlyDudley was going back in 4v5 into team fights that, to me, it looked like you guys had already lost, and then it just kind of spiraled out of control even more for you guys. So what was going on in the comms, and how did you kind of stabilize?
Well, we are not averse to going into team fights down players, obviously, but comms were pretty calm. I felt like, even though it felt like we were behind, we were pretty patient. Maybe not making the best moves all the time, but no one was mad, no one was getting angry or upset or frustrated, so we kept it together and it worked out.
That's good. It's between you and Aelish, and talking to you guys, it does seem like you give off kind of like more of a calm aura, so I imagine that helps in those high pressure situations. But obviously it was definitely looking a little bit rough, and I did feel that there were, I mean, aside from obviously the 4v5s, there were also some times when it did seem like basically the kills were coming in very quickly, even just on StudlyDudley, before you guys could even like react at times, until the very last team fight.
Yeah, and they were picking off Sonya up top by rotating.
Oh yeah, that happened too.
They came to try to kill me a few times on the bottom, and they do so much damage without you even knowing that they're there. It's pretty nasty.
And now let's talk about the Phoenix in the room. Not even calling it the elephant in the room. The Phoenix is a hero that it's been banned out against you so much. You finally got a chance to play it tonight. It worked out pretty well. You definitely showed off like some of your knowledge of that character. Tell us about that Phoenix and why it's such an important pick for you.
I just like him. He's my I'm a free-to-play player, and I never really bought any of the characters.
That's fun.
But as soon as Phoenix came out, He's the first person I spent gold on
Wow.
to buy.
Very nice.
And I just loved his kit the entire time he's been around.
Very, very nice. I enjoyed Phoenix a lot myself when he was released. You prefer the Planet Cracker as well. Tell us a little bit about the Planet Cracker pick over the Purification Salvo.
So, yeah, this game, it didn't get too much value. Nothing really to synergize with. But the way I play, I like to be in there. I like to warp on top of them and attack them. And if you're using the Purification Salvo, that's a second and a half of you not attacking, and I can't afford that. So I just go the Planet Cracker anyway, because I don't really use my ult except to snip people and use it with a mosh pit or something.
Very, very good. And I'd like to ask about, what was your kind of preparation for tonight's match? Since I kind of looked at this personally as just looking at the record for Respect the Goose, and it did seem to me like they could have been a challenging opponent for you guys. In Game 1, it didn't really look like that, although Game 2, they definitely turned it up quite a bit. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, Game 2, they definitely showed it. We thought we were going to lose that one.
I kind of thought so too.
Yeah, what I did to prep, I mainly looked at what they've played in the past, and obviously you saw our bans. We picked the ones that we didn't want to play against most. It's like, I hate a good Samuro. They've showed Samuro, so get rid of that right away. In the back of my mind, I kept expecting them to go Cho'Gall.
I was wondering about
they've done that.
Certainly in that first game when the second game when they first picked the Malthael, I was wondering if it was going to be like a Cho'Gall, and as they try to take basically the counters off the board.
Yeah, and they had they could have picked him last, and I expected it to come, but it didn't, so I'm pretty happy about that.
All right, very, very good. And at this time, it's a little bit tough because I've already interviewed your team, so some of the questions that I typically ask, I've kind of already asked Aelish at least. I think I'm just at the point where I'm just going to throw the floor to you for any just last comments or shout-outs before we wrap this up.
Obviously, thanks for casting. It makes the game so much more fun.
Thank you.
Shout out to the team, to the new members. Studley is a new guy. It's good to know that we can play well together. Shout out to the other team. They like to honk a lot. I'm not sure what that's all about, but as long as they're having fun.
That's just the Goose chant.
Yeah. And shout outs to my teams. Aelish, Adrian, Apoc, Studley, all the ones who didn't get to play today. Gerger, who's, as you know,
he's always
cheering in the chat.
I always see him cheering in the chat, and talking about your Phoenix.
Yeah, don't talk about it as much, then I won't get banned.
All right, then. That is all I got for tonight. So thank you for joining me, and have a good night, Tim.
Thank you. Good night.
All right.